I've also been a computer programmer, and to this day, I still make computer programming tutorials. I'm fluent in about a dozen languages, and it's actually how my career started. I was doing some simple call center work, and I wasn't really liking it too much. And this is back when the internet was first born. Yes, I hate to admit it, I'm that old. Um, so the internet was just becoming a thing, and web pages were popping up like crazy. And I was kind of like, how are these things made? What do you do? And a friend of mine kind of came over and he showed me some basics. And then he showed me how to use, at the time, Yahoo and web crawler. Yes, I'm that old. And I just started learning the commands. And building web pages was cool, but web pages are, well, boring. They're static. They just sit there. They don't do anything. So then I started learning JavaScript, and then you guessed it, every language led to another language, led to another technology, and the list went on and on and on. Fast forward, some of the code I've written is running all over the globe. I've done everything from web pages to embedded programming to mobile programming to database programming to high end infrastructure server programming. The point I'm making here is that once you learn the foundations of one language, you can take those foundational terms to other languages. For example, if you learn Java, you can take the foundational level you learned in Java and apply it to, say, Python or PHP or Swift or Flutter or C++ or any other language. So once you have the foundation down, it's easy to learn those other languages. The problem with computer programming is, well, I'm going to say it, the languages. There are a ton of them. None of them are remotely compatible with each other. And well, you're often asked to interop between them. So you may run a mobile application that talks to a server application, and those are written in two different languages. And now you've got to juggle two different code bases and figure out what the heck's going on, along with diagnosing network issues in between and database programming. Often you get lumped into a hybrid role as a computer programmer where you're also the database administrator, because guess what? Programs work with databases, so you're expected to know the database side of things. And companies wanting to save money will say, well, we'll make the programmer be the database administrator. And while you're in there, run the server and the network as well. That's actually how I got into server administrator. I was sitting there writing a program one day, and my boss and the network administrator, it was a very small company, they got into a big argument, like shouting match. The entire company heard it, and the network administrator walked out the door. The boss looked at me and said, "You are now the network administrator." Big angry look on his face, and I went, "Boss, I'm a programmer. I don't know anything about server administration." He said, "I don't care. You're sitting next to it. Figure it out." So that opened the door for me in server administration. Now, I bring that up because you can get into some really, really cool hybrid roles. That situation was a benefit to me because I knew the programming aspect. Now that I learned the server administration aspect, I could automate servers on a massive scale. So I could go to Fortune 500 companies and say, oh, you want this done across 5,000 servers? Yeah, I can write the code that does that. And I knew how to make it work. So the point I'm driving here is, if you want to get into computer programming, best of luck to you, because it is a complex topic, but it's also insanely rewarding, and you can do some of the coolest technologies out there. You can actually become a rock star in your company or start your own company based off the code that you write. A lot of the companies out there, simply it was an employee writing code and they said, I can do this better. And they started their own company in their basement.